Welcome back to Ghost Pirate Entertainment. I'm your host, Kanan Becker, and today I give you 10 more recommendations on Netflix. And let's get to the list.
What do you see? A man or a beast?
Old People is a 2022 German psychological horror movie. Written, edited, and directed by Andy Fescher. It stars Adolfo Asser, Louis Betten, and Gerard Boss. The story focuses on a group of residents at a retirement home who break free and go on a killing spree during a violent thunderstorm.
Thou shalt honor the old, for they are great in number. And one day you will all be like them.
This movie really surprised me. I had heard a few people mention it when it first dropped on Netflix, so I figured, what the hell, I'll check it out. But it by itself pushed me into being like, all right, this week I'm making a Netflix list, because it really surprised me that much. It gets brutal, savage, and dark. It has elements to it that are kind of silly and over the top, like what you would expect from a lot of horror movies. But it also has this really grim underbelly where it deals with some real issues about how we treat our elderly and just that sadness there. And it really portrays that in such a tragic, powerful way. But it also has a lot of violent kills, brutality, just a straight up horror movie too. I had a great time with this movie, but it also had an impact on me. This is a bit of a slow burn, but once it gets going, it really gets terrifying. This is one I definitely think you should check out.
Well, you know what happens now.
The Perfection is a 2018 psychological horror thriller. Directed by Richard Shepard from a screenplay by Shepard, Nicole Snyder, and Eric Carmelo. It stars Allison Williams, Logan Browning, and Steven Weber. It tells the story of a musical prodigy named Charlotte, who returns after years to a prestigious musical school to find star pupil Lizzie has taken her place, and the two embark down a sinister path.
What's happening? What's happening?
Oh my god.
What's happening?
I don't know!
Oh my god. What is it? I don't know!
This movie gets absolutely savage. I was really shocked at how dark and disturbing this movie ultimately goes. For years, I performed in music, and granted, it was very different because I was in a metal band, but the way you push yourself as a musician or as an artist in general, because I still push myself incredibly hard now, but it was that really made me connect to this movie in so many ways. But then it goes down this wild, dark journey with brilliant performances by the entire cast. And I was just shocked at some of the directions that it went, because it doesn't go at all where you think it's going to. There's plenty of surprises throughout. And it slowly unfolds, letting you know the entire history of everything. But it starts you out in a way that all the things that happen kind of surprise you, because you don't have this backstory. You don't really know what all went on in the past. But it slowly kind of brings you up to speed, and it all just kind of comes together towards the end, and you see the full picture of everything, and it's really beautifully done. This is just a fantastic movie that I highly recommend.
It's grass. It's just grass.
In the Tall Grass is a 2019 Canadian supernatural horror movie, directed by Vincenzo Natali and based on a 2012 Stephen King Joe Hill novella of the same name. It stars Harrison Gilbertson, Leisla Oliveira, and Patrick Wilson. When her brother and sister enter into a field of tall grass to rescue a boy, they soon realize that they cannot escape and that something evil lurks in the grass.
Someone out there?
So I've heard of this movie for years, and for whatever reason, I just never checked it out. I heard it was really good, but just had never checked it out. And finally, I decided to. And man, why did I wait so long? This movie is so good. It's just so well put together, very eerie and creepy. And I know I've heard that it doesn't live up to the novella, but seriously, what movies ever live up to the writing? But as far as a movie goes, I really enjoyed this one. Patrick Wilson just plays this totally out there, savage character, and everybody else in this cast is fantastic. They just give these really emotional, powerful roles. But the thing I love the most about it is how it deals with time. I'm a huge fan of time travel and the unknown and all of that craziness, time slips, stuff like that. And this does such a good job of portraying that. And I guess from what I've heard, that's very different than the novella. The novella doesn't really deal with all the time elements. But I'm a huge fan of the time elements, so that pulled me in right away. It just has this winding, crazy story that's hard to follow, just an absolute mindfuck type of movie. So if you're a fan of movies like Time Crimes, which I recommended a couple videos back, just these weird psychological thrillers that fuck your brain all up, then I highly recommend you add this to your list.
You're gonna burn.
Oh my God.
God is not here.
Incarnate is a 2016 supernatural horror movie, directed by Brad Payton and written by Ronnie Kirstensen. It stars Aaron Eckhart, Carice Van Houten, and David Mazouz. After a single mother witnesses terrifying symptoms of demonic possession in her son, a Vatican representative calls on Dr. Seth Embers to rid him of the evil spirit.
Mom? I have an archdemon possessing the body of an innocent 11-year-old boy.
So this movie really flies under the radar. As far as Blumhouse movies go, you just never hear this one talked about. And is it groundbreaking? Not really. Is it anything game-changing? No. But is it a fun, supernatural, dark, demented, demonic, kind of cool possession thing? Yes, very much so. And it's a very unique movie. It's like The Exorcist meets Inception. Just this very strange put together concept that I think really works for a good time. So if you're looking for a movie to not overthink and just have a good time with, this is an absolutely great pick.
And remember that you are amazing.
Malevolent is a 2018 British horror movie. Directed by Olaf de Fleur and based on the novel Hush by Eva Konstantinopoulos, it stars Florence Pugh, Ben Lloyd Hughes, and Scott Chambers. The story focuses on a team of scam artists who are making money from faked paranormal experiences. But during an assignment at a country home, the team gets more than they bargained for. And one by one, they begin to lose grip on reality.
Here's the plan. Angela will pretend she sees a ghost. We'll put on a damn good show and make some money.
I've recommended this movie before, but it had such an impact on me. I absolutely love this movie that I had to recommend it again. I think it's a perfect pick for this time of year when you're looking for a spooky haunted house kind of situation. Because it's a traditional haunted house movie in a lot of ways, but it's so well put together with characters that you really give a shit about and a really fantastic performance by Florence Pugh, which, I mean, that's par for the course with her at this point. Everything she's in, she lifts to another level. And this is such a small, nothing movie that no one ever talks about, but she really makes it into something you should talk about. It has this really fantastic gothic vibe to it, with a lot of mood and atmosphere throughout. This is such a well done movie in every way. The shot selection, the lighting, everything about it just feels fantastically done. It's a movie that I absolutely recommend. Gets Out Alive is a 2021 British horror movie. Directed by Santiago Magini and based on the 2014 novel of the same name by Adam Neville. The film stars Christina Rodlow and Mark Menchaca. Desperate and without documentation, a young woman from Mexico moves into a rundown Cleveland boarding house. Then unsettling cries and eerie visions begin.
What have you seen? There's something wrong with this place. Even when I'm awake, I see it.
This is another one that I've recommended before, but it's so good and still I hear no one talking about it. Christina Rodlow gives an absolutely amazing performance in this and really carries this movie. It's a bit of a slow burn as it just slowly builds into this horrifying scenario. But once it gets there, this movie goes into some wild, just crazy direction with loads of surprises and a pretty shocking ending as well. This is a small movie, but a really well done one, and one you most definitely need to see.
Vampires, they're amongst us. And all they are is murderers. It's not eclipse, new moon, breaking dawn, point one. It ain't like that, all right?
Why do you know the names to all the specific Twilight films?
Welcome to the day shift, motherfucker.
Works every time.
Day Shift is a 2022 vampire horror movie, directed by J.J. Perry in his directorial debut, and based on a story by Taylor Tice. The film stars Jamie Foxx, Dave Franco, and Snoop Dogg. It tells the story of a hardworking dad trying to provide for his daughter, who uses a pool cleaning job as a front for his real gig, hunting and killing vampires.
Money.
This movie was so much fun. It was so much better than I expected. I heard about it and I was in no rush to see it because I was like, okay, another vampire movie. I've seen a million of them and I've seen quite a few of them on Netflix that are, okay at best. But this one goes beyond that. It's really a blast, but it's the way that it's shot. It's such an exciting movie with constant action scene after the other with just these crazy over-the-top battle sequences. It also has a pretty fresh look at vampires and just the hunting of vampires. I thought was done really well. But in the end of the day, what carries this movie is the performances, because Dave Franco is hilarious in this, so is Jamie Foxx, and Snoop, Snoop's great in everything he's in, but this movie is just a blast. When you boil it down to its core, it's really just a popcorn horror movie, but a really well done one, and one I definitely think you could have fun with. So do yourself a favor and check it out. The Forest is a 2016 supernatural horror movie, directed by Jason Zada and starring Natalie Dormer and Tyler Kinney. The story follows a young woman who travels to the Akihara Forest in Japan, better known as the Suicide Forest, in hopes to find her missing sister.
Your sister went into Aokigahara Forest. It's where lost people go to commit suicide.
What?
This is a creepy, haunting, moody movie that's really rooted in this real place, which to me just gives it that much more of an eerie quality. The fact that there is this real forest where people really do go to commit suicide. It's a really tragic, sad story that I've seen multiple documentaries and things on. It's really fascinating, but very tragic. But I thought this movie did a great job of taking that subject serious, but at the same time, doing this creepy scenario with it, because just the idea of that place alone just makes for a fantastic horror movie. Because if hauntings really exist, there is not a place on the planet that should have more ghosts than this place. The overall concept is just creepy as fuck. Natalie Dormer does a great job in this movie as well. She just has this really emotional character that you just find yourself rooting for but being mystified by. I don't want to give anything away because this movie does have some pretty wild twists, but she does a great job of portraying this character. This is a disturbing, creepy, moody little movie that I think you definitely need to see.
James Woods. From the master of terror comes a new breed of evil. John Carpenter's Vampires.
Vampires is a 1998 independent neo-western action horror movie. Directed and scored by John Carpenter, it stars James Woods, Cheryl Lee, and Thomas Ian Griffith. Ever since his parents were murdered by vampires, Jack Crow has had one purpose in life: killing bloodsuckers. But he meets his match at a roadside motel when he comes face to face with a vampire with incredible powers.
Have you ever seen a vampire? Forget whatever you've seen in the movies. It's not like they're seducing everybody in sight with cheesy Eurotrash accents, all right? They don't turn into bats. Crosses don't work. You want to kill one, you drive a wooden stake right through his heart.
So if you know anything about John Carpenter, you know that his favorite genre growing up was westerns, and that he's always wanted to make a western. And this is about as close as he ever got, because this really has this Old West vibe to it, and I'm there for it. This movie is so much fun, and it's bizarre to me because out of all of John Carpenter's catalog, this one gets almost the least amount of attention, especially considering this is a damn good movie. It has really entertaining performances by the entire cast, with these really well shot, epic action scenes that are just so much fun to see. I love the invention of some of the technology that they use to fight against these vampires as well, and just the lore and history and just all of that is very fun in this movie, and you could see that it's very thought out. And James Woods plays a serious badass in this, very reminiscent of a Clint Eastwood type. Like I said, Western. This is very much a Western vampire movie. The whole thing just looks dusty and dirty and beaten down Old West kind of vibe. This movie just does not get enough attention, but I think it deserves to be at the top of any horror fan's watch list.
One of these zombies just bit me! Ah! Zombies don't have nervous systems. Good call, Bill Nye the Science Guy. Burn.
The Curse of Bridge Hollow is a 2022 comedy horror movie, directed by Jeff Wadlow and stars Marlon Wayans, Priya Ferguson, and Rob Riggle. A man and his daughter must team up to save their town after an ancient and mischievous spirit causes Halloween decorations to come to life and wreak havoc.
There once lived a wicked man named Stingy Jack.
He died in your house.
Hello? So I might live in a haunted house? This place just got a lot cooler.
Whoa. This is such a fun little movie. It's very much a family-friendly movie, but I love it, man, and I think this time of year, it's great to have these entryway horror movies that you can watch with your kids. But I'm full grown, no kids, you know, I'm by myself, and I still had a great time with this movie because there's some really ingenious things that they do in this. Special effects, just some very interesting, creative, fun elements to it. But there's something about, as an adult, watching these kind of fun, happy, Halloween, you know, energy, saturated with that vibe kind of movie that just takes you back. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I have a great time watching this kind of movie. Also, Rob Riggle, who's very annoying to me at times, was very funny in this, as well as Marlon Wayans. There's just some really hilarious jokes and setups in this that were also a lot of fun. In a lot of ways, it reminded me of an episode of Goosebumps, just to a bigger scale. And I still love the Goosebumps, okay? Sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, last night I went onto YouTube, punched in and found some old Goosebumps episodes and watched them. It's just a really fun thing, especially to go to sleep to this time of year. So yeah, maybe I'm weird. That's fine, I'm good with that. I've come to grips with my weirdness. Either way, I think this is a movie you could really have fun with. So grab your popcorn and your candy and enjoy! I want to give a huge, massive, enormous thank you to my patrons because you guys, your support seriously means so much to me, as well as my new members who've joined here on YouTube, my membership. I appreciate all of you guys that support this channel. And if you would like to find out more about becoming a patron, the link is down in the description. And like always, thank you so much for watching. Please crush that like button. And remember, guys, horror can be fun! If you enjoyed this, click right here for 10 more recommendations. And I'll see you guys next time!